this session, I'm very pleased to introduce Prasanna Kumar. He's Zonal Manager South for CyberRoam. And Prasanna specializes in the design, development and maintenance of mission critical IT security solutions. And he's been advising clients on technical solutions as well as best practices on building, maintaining and integrating security solutions. So today he's going to be talking over the next half hour about actionable security intelligence for IT practitioners. So please welcome on stage Mr. Prasanna Kumar from CyberRoam.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, because generally what happens is like the second sessions will be more of a relaxing one, right? So before I start, I would like to introduce my team members here. He's Santosh. He takes care of pre-sales for South Zone. And then Prajit, who takes care of accounts. And I have one more colleague who is Nakul, who takes care of regional business here. So here actually it's interesting that, you will be seeing Sophos most of the time. The reason is CyberRoam is a Sophos company now. If you are not aware, CyberRoam was predominantly into network security, which has been taken over by Sophos. And Sophos is actually a company which is into global market with endpoint, cloud, server, network, server, and mobile device management. So entire portfolio of solutions what we carry today. And in this session, I will be talking more into the network side actually. So the reason is we have a lot of different solutions and it takes a lot of time to get into each and every detail. So my job is to present you the most, the first point, the perimeter point of security. And this is really it is surprising that the most of the attendants are here, though there is another session going on behind. So this is a great moment for me. In fact, I was thinking how many people are here, and I just was picking there. So it's a very, very few. I don't know whether they know it or not. Okay. So thank you very much once again. So today, if you see the India, it is going digital. We are talking about digital India, booming of internet into different homes, different appliances. Even though we have PC and desktops, now it is moving to most of the network which is actually was not connected, and 250 million devices which are internet enabled. And if you see today, it is more than that. Even we have crossed 900 plus million devices which are actually connected to internet. The reason is we have 3G, 4G, absolutely the internet is available. So this is where we are moving in a different direction, and even government is talking about digital India. So we want to start from here, and the entire IT infrastructure which we used to have, it's very easy to set up now a new business because cloud is available. You see any conference you attend, there will be a session on cloud. Even in the morning you had a cloud session. The reason is it's very, very easy to deploy your infrastructure, quickly roll out applications. And if you see the business which actually was traditionally was happening on a server or a desktop laptop, it has gone to third platform, what we are calling as a mobile platform. Today if you see anything we do is absolutely on a mobile app. Okay, and I was reading morning newspaper. There are July to October, the applications been downloaded by from Amazon is 8.1 million, Flipkart is 9 million, Snapdeal is 3 million. And if you see, switch on any radio, switch on any FM, you will see that applications. You buy groceries on application, you buy furniture in application, you buy food, everything is actually into the mobile devices. So what's happening is we are moving from a different platform to a new platform which is actually getting used for business. This is where, even the companies where you are working will be having a lot of pressure on developing some application which can front end to the client, and then business can happen. So this is where, we are moving, and here comes the risk of security, data security. The reason is, you are mobile, then the appliances or devices which are outside of network is actually a concern of lot of concern on IT and security comes into picture. And we are talking about Internet of Things. For example, if you talk about today, We are talking about connected cities. This is going to happen very soon. And we are seeing that connected cars, even the cars which we are actually, the new generation cars will have definitely a GPS system connected to internet. There will be a communication system which will be connected. So everything is actually getting connected. So what we are saying is Internet of Things. In fact, there is a new word which has generated from Internet of Things. Now they are calling Internet of Anything. It is, everything is connected, not only Internet for IT purpose, it can be for any purpose what we are talking about. So what's going to happen with this? The downside is concern on data security, which is actually the most of the polls says that IT is actually IT departments are fearing about the data and privacy plus the security what actually is required when it comes to a data security on third platform. And by having this, what we are seeing is the data tsunami is actually taking place. The amount of devices which are connected generates so much of data today that you cannot imagine. Even a mobile phone which we are using, even I'll tell you that, you know, I have a 2 GB of internet plan. It gets over by, you know, 15 days. And the amount of storage what I have is not enough on my phone. I have to rely on the cloud. I have to just upload some of the files, some of the pictures to my cloud which is being given by even iOS. Or you might be having a Windows or might be having a Android phone. Everybody relies on some cloud to back up their data and keep that data because I don't have the storage in my place. So imagine that, you know, how much of data is actually getting generated. And the surface of attack, earlier you used to have a Windows or maybe on a server kind of thing. Today it has gone ahead. Even a attack can be launched from an internet-enabled fridge or a TV. I can send spam mails from a internet-enabled TV. So this is the kind of attack scenario which is going to come. And privacy. Since, you know, the data which I used to have in my phone has gone to cloud, there is absolutely there is a problem of privacy here. Anything happens, what do I do? And traditional firewalls or IPS devices are not actually designed for today's world actually. Because today what we are seeing, the amount of data, the amount of applications, the amount of devices which are getting connected, and to secure that, only a firewall or IPS device is not going to be sufficient. This is proven, and we are seeing there are companies which are actually getting out of a single point of solution and moving towards a comprehensive solution. So this is where, you know, we want to be more proactive, and a CXO or a aspiring CEO or a CTO need to look after three things. One is delivery of innovation. If you are not able to be innovative in terms of your infrastructure, that's going to be a challenge in terms of when you move next to the ladder. Second is accountability. Now I have lot many users, and what is happening and who is doing what. There is a accountability required, and I need to identify that user or that kind of threat in my organization. So that is another level of challenge. Third is long-term investment plan. Suppose you decide to buy any product today. You have to keep it in mind that this investment today has to take care of next 5 years or maybe 3 to 5 years. So that's where, you know, the decision making also is very, very important. Because as a CTO, as a IT manager, you have been allocated some kind of budget. And this budget not only has to take care of the current requirement, but also what is coming in future. So any decision which is actually going against these kind of parameters, this is going to be a problem when it comes to return on investment. So this is where we say that, you know, key priorities of a CSO is visibility and control. You have to have absolute visibility of your network. And then extend this network to users outside of your network as well, because there are vendors connected, there are partners connected, customers connected. So there is a need for IT managers to extend their resources to outside of their network. Third is actionable security, real-time threat analysis is also required at hand. What's happening in your environment? Suppose you have extended your network to outside, what kind of threat is the real-time threat coming, so that I can take an action. If you don't have, then it is like the damage has been done, and then I don't know what to do. So it is very, very important that, you know, there has to be an action related data which has to be coming to your, you know, hand, so that you can actually take a lot of actions. So the traditional approach of security intelligence used to be point solutions. I am sure that, you know, you used to have, even in 2000s, we used to sell a IPS device, we used to sell a gateway antivirus, a firewall, so many devices, and the vendors also used to teach us, oh boss, this is how, you know, you have to sell. And then it was, you know, most of the external threats, okay? Now it is no more external, it is also internal as well, because let's say we used to have a 100 user network. Today it has gone to 500 or 1000 user network also, because the networks are so fast growing. And plus with these mobile devices, earlier I used to say that, okay, how many users you have? Yes, 100 users. Now we ask how many devices. The reason is every user is carrying 2 to 3 devices, and they are connected to the network. So what's happening is the insider threat also has increased. And then event driven. Something happened, then I have actually put in some kind of solution to address that. But it is actually intelligent driven today. It's not about, you know, what event is actually causing that. Then isolated network. Now it is all big data networks, all connected networks, everything is connected, and this is where, you know, we have landed today. And to have this, what we have come in is the solution what we provide can take care of your malware protection, real-time visibility of your network, manageability, then your bring your own device security, virtualized security, then business continuity, and regulatory compliances. Plus something called user threat quotient, which I'll be talking in a couple of slides ahead. So this is what, you know, we see that we can actually address in a single form on a network level. So this is the core of a next generation firewall. The next generation firewall, what we are talking is layer 8 technology, which is again patented by Cyberome. That's user identity. Layer 8 is actually user identity. Then the firewall, application filter, IPS, VPN, content filtering, bandwidth management, on-appliance reporting, IPv6 support, and multi-link management. This is what a core NGFW firewall does. And on top of that, if you want some more features to make it as a UTM, yes, you can do by activating a license, which can provide you gateway anti-malware, gateway anti-spam, web application firewall, wireless security, and even it can support your 3G, 4G kind of connection for a backup. So this is where whole, if you take it, it becomes a UTM feature. So we have a next generation firewall plus UTM. So this is where you can address multiple threats in a single device. And when we talk about little deeper, when it comes to IPS, we have 4,500 plus kind of signatures, and all the applications or all the IPS signatures you can build around users. This is one of the interesting features of Cyberome, that any IPS signature can be built around user. Since we have a layer 8 technology which is inbuilt, so anything on a user level you can put it. Not only a blanket policy on a firewall, even on an IPS level we can do, and you can have multiple IPS policies. Then you can have policies on applications, on certain protocols. So you have a granular IPS engine which is running in Cyberome, which can be customized according to your user also. And then anti-malware, which can scan your emails, web traffic, HTTPS, FTP, SMTP, all kind of protocols. And the very interesting feature is self-service quarantine. Most of the devices today, what you have a gateway, don't provide any self-service quarantine feature today. That is one of the USPs of Cyberome, where let's say infected mail is there, and there is no remedy available for that. It will keep that mail in a quarantine folder. Even the user can go into that quarantine folder and can take out the detail and can say, okay, this is not a genuine mail, he can drop it. Or if he thinks that it's a genuine mail, he can actually release it. So it can also reduce the time of IT resources to actually get into each and every user's mailbox and clear it. All these things are not necessary. And anti-spam, we promise to deliver 99% of spam filtering. The reason is we use 3 different kind of technologies. One is IP reputation filtering, and then real-time blacklisting, black hole list, RBL, which you call, and then recurrent pattern detection. This is a trademark, or this is a patented technology, which actually is very, very promising in terms of catching new kind of spams, even though there is a spam which is actually not been generated, but by seeing the pattern, we can actually stop that spams at the gateway level. So 85% of your junk data or junk bandwidth these things will consume will actually reduce. And then we have SMTP, POP3, IMAP scanning, virus outbreak detection, and then DOS and DDoS protection, your SYNFLOOD, TCP, IP, UDP, all things are already there. And real-time update servers are running across the globe, which can actually keep these appliances updated. There is a push and pull technology, both are available in terms of getting the updates. Then this is very interesting. On-appliance web application firewall. See, most of the companies, what they do is, generally they sell web application firewall as a separate hardware or separate software. But actually, do you require that kind of investment again when it can be done on a same hardware? What we have done is, we have actually put this feature on a same UTM or a NGFW to do that without any signature base. What it does is, it will check the reputation or web flow, web traffic flow of that particular website, and it will try to stop this without the signatures. And it can do your SSL offloading, it can do monitoring and reporting also. So website flow detector, you can see a word called website flow detector. And there is a positive protection. So what happens, the load on the appliance is very, very less. Since I don't go by the signatures, I will go by the pattern of the attack and how I can protect this before I go through any signatures. This is how we have built in this web application filter, or what we call is WAF, to protect even your web servers which are facing outside or internal websites which are actually available. So this is another interesting feature which you can just enable on the same firewall, and you can start. And there is no maintenance, or there is no downtime, because it's on the same appliance. You just enable it, it starts working. Then we have something called TFT technology inbuilt in VPN. Threat-free tunneling. One point to other point, or an SSL VPN, we scan each and every encrypted traffic, so that any malware or any kind of attack can be prevented, which can come from a VPN or a virtual private network. So this is again a very interesting feature where we can actually not only do and establish a connection, but even can stop any viruses coming from there. And application visibility and control. Now, as we discussed that a lot of applications are coming into the market, a lot of mobile devices are coming into market. What happens is, like, I don't know that which applications are right applications for my organization and which applications are wrong for my organization. Because if you talk today, iOS, how many applications do you think iOS or iTunes Store might be hosting? Any idea? Android, how many applications are there? Some numbers will be there, right? Actually, 15 million applications which are there in Android, 12 million plus are there on iOS, And Windows, of course, it is less than 3 million, okay, because it's not so popular. But imagine these applications you have to control inside your network, because when somebody comes in and you want to block certain applications, you don't know. And in that applications, again, which application is dangerous? I don't know. Which application is, because I might be knowing certain applications which I regularly use, but ask a user. I'm sure that, I don't know who is having the highest number of applications in this room, but one of my colleague, he keeps on deleting some applications because his memory doesn't support. So those many applications, they keep on trying. Okay, if you talk about users, you will see a lot of unknown applications, because in Android platform, you get n number of applications which are not tested. And iOS, even though it is tested, there are vulnerabilities also. So this is the kind of applications what we are seeing. In terms of managing that, what we have done is we have put a application visibility control, which we have categorized, and that category again falls into risk level, plus characteristics of those applications and what technology they carry. So what it means is, like, let's say a gaming application is there. In that gaming application, it can be a application which can bring in certain attacks. What we have done is we have actually put it in the higher risk, or the most riskiest application. And similarly, there will be applications which will be consuming most of the bandwidth of your network. So based on that as well as application characteristics, we have divided those applications, and technology wise. Is it a P2P application, is it a network protocol application, or client server, or a browser based? So what happens is you have a ready-made these three categories available. You do whatever you want to control over your network. If you say I want to block based on users, based on the bandwidth consuming application, based on the timing which I want to allow or disallow any kind of users, or application category wise. You can, over a combination of things, you can actually control these applications. Let's say that, I will say in my network, most bandwidth hungry applications, I want to block it. Yes, you can do that. Or you can say most riskiest application to my network, I want to block it. You don't have to do anything. Automatically it will select and it will apply the policy so that these applications will be blocked. This is one of the interesting features where you don't have to worry about what category it falls. Similarly, if you see web application filtering, we have 90 plus categories. Actually, it is 89. It is 90 plus categories are present in CyberROM, which can control HTTP, HTTPS sites. Even in granular, you can even do micromanagement. Let's say I am using Facebook. In Facebook, there might be a lot of micro applications like games, chatting, likes, videos. A lot of micro applications are there. Even you can control, you can make Facebook as a read-only access page. I can block chatting, I can block uploading of any movies, playing movies, games. So micromanagement also we can do. Plus URL, embedded URLs, you click on and it will take you to some kind of different sites. Plus you have proxy and tunneling sites, because most of the users, if it is actually you block certain websites, they use proxies to go out. So even any proxy kind of website which is allowing the users to go outside, it will detect and it will drop. And again, you can do a combination of things on website blocking as well. It's like you can control on the bandwidth, you can control user and group wise, you can control time wise, and the most interesting and very beautiful feature is even you can provide a bandwidth to a particular category of website. Let's say there is a cricket match is going today. Most of the users, what they do when they are in office, they'll open the site and they start watching the video, right? So, and if you stop that, they will go home, or they'll skip, they will bunk the office, or they will actually blame the IT people over there. Okay, so this is a big challenge. So what we can do here is, let's say I will say any cricket site reduce the bandwidth. Okay, so any cricket site, any game site which is hosting the live videos, it can actually reduce the bandwidth for that particular category. So if I'm trying to open any website which is hosting a cricket video, it will slow down. Okay, the video will not play, but he can see the commentary and other things, but the bandwidth has dropped for that category. So what is happening is the other pages, if let's say if any business you are typing, it will give you a faster access, but not this. So you are not blocking it, you are allowing it, but still you have a control on the bandwidth. So this kind of things you can do on a very simple way. There is nothing, you have to do on a very, there are so many configurations required, nothing. It is a very simple click, you can do it. And this is very interesting. Can you tell me what is actually it is telling? What this slide tells about? Yes, that is true actually. But you see, these are all things are blocked. They are saying no. But you see that guy has having everything in his hand, okay, at the same time. What happens this is, like, let's say we are supposed to, suppose not to do something, and people will try to do that same thing in this one. This is where, exactly what we are talking in the network also. Let's say you ask somebody not to visit some particular site. You will see that that particular site will be the most clicked site after you told that. Okay, you tell that, as an IT manager, boss, there is an attack, there is a video, you please don't see that. Okay, as a curiosity, users will try to do that only. Okay, so this is the most dangerous thing what in your network. As an IT manager, I can't control, because today they have seen something in paper and they'll come and try in the office. Okay, they will read something, that some kind of attack or something has happened, there is a video posted. What they do? They read the paper, come to office 10 o'clock, open that, try to view that, isn't it? Because at my home, the bandwidth will not allow me to, watch that video. So this is actually a risk, and identifying that risk or that user is very difficult. If you have so much of users in the network, it's very difficult. So what if you could identify a risky user at a glance? Yes, you can do it. How? Go through the logs of the user of a firewall, look at the IP address and find out the time, and see that, go through all the websites and find out, and also you have to type it, that website, whether that contains or not. And then you give a report that yes, you are doing that. But is it possible for us? It's very impossible that, you go through each and every user's report and then see that what he was doing and what time he was opening that website, it's very difficult, to, as a person, or if you have IT team also, you can't do that. So we have introduced something called UTQ, User Threat Quotient. What it does is very interesting. This we launched 2 quarters back, and this is the most happening, or the most liked features in CyberRoam. This is a dashboard. I think this is not clear. Actually, this is a dashboard. This is the latest dashboard, I would say. Anybody is using CyberRoam here? No one. Okay. So this is the latest dashboard. In the dashboard, what it will do is, it will show the risk of your network. What's the risk the network is running? Okay, is it a green or it is red? And it will show you how many users are actually carrying the risk. You can see that there are 2 number of users. Okay, and what does it mean? It will give you in a format of the bubbles. Okay, the bubbles indicates that these are the users actually who are at risk, or they are vulnerable, they can bring in some kind of risk to you. The moment you click on that user, you can go in detail of that user, what he was doing, what he was watching, and whether he was going to some certain sites which can actually bring in a virus or anything like that. So you can identify. So you don't have to go through the entire logs, reports, everything. It will do what we have done is, the big data analysis we have included in the device. It will go through the entire logs of antivirus, IPS, web content filtering, all the features which is running, fetch the data, give it to you in a dashboard. Okay, so if you are interested, who are my bad users or who are my dangerous users, you click on and you can see that, what they were doing. So this gives you a ready-made kind of intelligence which you can actually, before you doing anything, getting into details, you can actually take action. So this is something which is very interesting, which will save the time, plus it will give you accurate reports also. This is one of the USPs again. And almost all networks nowadays connected with the various devices. Right now, whichever device you are having at the perimeter, are you able to see that, how many Windows phones are connected, how many Android phones are connected, how many iOS devices are connected? I have 100 PCs or laptops, but how many devices are connected? This is where, BOID build-up is happening, and you have to actually have the count on how many devices of different platform are logging in. So here I can actually get to know about the clients which are actually connected to my network, apart from my network users. So this will give you a more in-depth knowledge of how many devices are connected, because sometimes you say that, I have 100 users, I have a 10 Mbps, still it is very slow. Okay, it might happen that there are so many different platform users are also connected. And layer 8 based report, you can actually catch a user by his name. That's actually what we are providing, called layer 8 technology, where you can integrate with your AD server, or you can create username or password inside CyberROM, so that what happens at the end of the day, the user can be logged in from any kind of device. It can be a laptop, it can be a PC, it can be a mobile, but the policy will remain same for that user, even though he is coming from different kind of devices. And you can actually track that user irrespective of what device he was using. Let's say I was using some kind of pornography site from my mobile, I can still be detected as a Prasanna. Or I can actually go to another system. So the system can change, but still the policy will remain on me. So it is very easy to find out. That's called accountability. You can actually pinpoint the user in terms of the name, because he has to sign in to access any network. And then 1,200 plus kind of reports you can generate, which can give you a detail of what you want. And this also has got inbuilt compliance reporting. You talk about any HIPAA or compliance and any kind of third-party reports you want to submit, it is available, right? Click that and just submit. And when we are talking about all this security inbuilt, what happens is we are concerned on the performance. As I told you, any device today you take, it has to go for next 3 to 5 years. So in this way, you just have to think one more thing, is like, how do my device can take care of the next 3 to 5 years speeds, okay, the fast, which is, the internet is going at the fastest level, and I will be upgrading my bandwidth. So how does it take care? So what we do is we actually keep on refreshing our OS, so that the same hardware can give you a highest throughput. And we have actually come up with something called fast path technology, which can actually reduce the utilization of your CPU and actually give you a highest performance. If you can talk about a kind of a device which we call 2500ING, it can give 160 gig speed at today's environment. And our engineering team keeps on developing this, and you will see that it keeps on increasing. Last year it was 60 gig. Today it is 160 gig without changing any appliance. It just, one upgrade, you get the performance. And when it comes to the real world security, not only perimeter security is enough for any network, even you have a mobile device which is connected is also very important, because the amount of risk what a mobile device carry to a network is today is the highest. And then integrating the devices, integrating the technologies. Today, I am a firewall vendor, there is a antivirus vendor, there is an encryption vendor, there is a cloud vendor. They don't talk to each other, because I am a firewall vendor from CyberROM. Might be there is a different AV vendor is there, endpoint vendor is there, which I will not talk, or neither he will talk to me. Because you wanted to have the best of the product, so you had CyberROM, maybe you have Symantec, McAfee, or you can talk about any great endpoint solution there. Encryption, you can have any best of the encryption. and you can, because you want to have the best, but they don't talk to each other. So this is very important when going forward. Each and every technology has to talk together. Let's say endpoint, there is a malware detected. It has to talk to the perimeter saying that, look, I've got a malware. So this guy gets alert, okay, and this guy in turn tells to the cloud or the security center saying that there is a malware found. Immediately there will be information going to the mobile, so that any pattern detected on a mobile also gets blocked. So this is the technology what we are talking, and this is called integrated technology what is coming up. And let me tell you, you will get to know about this news very soon, where we are bringing a very, very interesting security feature which can actually enable most of the technologies to talk to each other. And from a single window vendor with the best of the products. Yes, there are few slides. Oh, so it will not flow through?
All I'm saying is you've run out of the allotted time, so you need to finish.
Okay, so fine. So what I'm saying is, when we are talking about the most of the technologies, these technologies, you want to have the best of the technologies. So if you talk about endpoint, network, or mobile device, as per the third-party analyst, you will see these are all in the Gartner's leader segment. Endpoint on the leaders, on the gateway you are on the leaders, encryption we are on the leaders, mobile we are on the leaders. So what we are offering tomorrow is an integrated solution, single vendor, best of the solutions. So this is where we are actually working towards, and that's it from me because the time is up. Actually, it was a couple of slides, before actually we closed it. So thank you very much. Any questions?
On the web content filtering, we spoke about application control, and you gave an example of blocking the chat. But let's say there is a business requirement to hello Google talk.
Yes.
And how do we control? Do you have a mechanism to control the data transfer?
Data transfer on what? Like
on the chat.
On the chat, yes. We right now we support two engines. Okay, that's Yahoo Messenger and MSN, where you even can have a control of your entire things, who can chat and what can you send the files and all. If you want to block on Google, I think you can do yes.
Okay. And does the OS supports multiple languages? I'll refer that back to the cricket example which you gave. So
yes. It is irrespective of your languages, okay? Because what we do is we do the categorization based on the domains, based on the sites which are actually we get information from the central server from different countries as well, okay? Because there could be something which might be in Russian language or Chinese language or something like that. So yes, it does.
In my past assignment in Yes Bank, we bought endpoint encryption from Sophos.
Okay.
Product is good, but implementation was pathetic. Like there was only one expert across India.
Yes.
And we suffered a huge challenge. The laptops used to crash. Out of 100, 8 or 10 laptops used to crash, and we didn't got much expertise. So now Sophos has taken over
CyberRoam. Yes.
Roam.
Yeah.
So do we have enough implementation expertise and run the business expertise, operational expertise?
Excellent question. Okay. Now, Sophos, I am sure that most of them would not be knowing about Sophos, but you actually implemented the solution, which was good actually, as you told. But Sophos' presence in India was not so great actually. If you see the company, it was 1985, but compared to our competitors, we were not so strongly present. Though we do 500 million of business across the globe, and now it is listed. So what happened is there was a gap in terms of Asia Pacific region. So there were few people who were driving this market, and there were only few technical engineers. So by having CyberRoam, they are getting, or the Sophos got 80+ team on ground actually now. Okay, so each and every place where we have a pre-sale and sale will actually provide that support to you, And let me tell you that India is going to be the biggest R&D hub for Sophos. We have 750 people who actually that capacity has gone to 750 people in India R&D, and there will be 120 people. So we might have opened the call center as well for Sophos line of products. Okay, so that will change very soon. And next month, even you can call our, not next month actually, even, sorry? Yeah, after January, even you will see the call center also will coming up, and the team which is there, present technical team is getting trained. So you can actually give a call to them, even whatever the problems. Today, Cyberroam is successful because of the support. Okay. Similarly, we want to bring the same thing with Sophos, endpoints, encryption, all these products. Though products are good, but as you said, it is true that support was lacking.
And also encryption, there is no other competition. If you look on encryption, Microsoft Bitdefender is there by default. Rather than centralized management console based, there is no encryption. So great product and support already we have started one by one. All the SCs are trained. Now we will be on the field.
Any other?
Yeah, hi. I just have a question related to that. User threats reported in terms of bubbles.
Yes.
So I just wanted to understand, are they based on actual threats or are based on intelligent or pattern based? If it is a pattern based, how is the IT department derives a solution for such pattern based?
Yeah,
because
so
it's
that's
not a real threat.
Yes.
Yeah, pattern-based works only on anti-spam. Pattern-based detection. IPS, totally different. This UTQ based on entirely combination, like for example, I visits a lot of hacking site. That also will be there. Anti-spam will not come to an UTQ. UTQ clearly on vulnerable user or vulnerable profile want to find. So based on IPS, like we are launching few more features like ATP. Like November 9th, we are hosting that new OS. ATP will add, then IPS, DOS, these 5 parameters, and antivirus.
Oh.
These are the 5 parameters. Based on that, UTQ will define.
Yeah, see, let's say that, false positive what you are talking, okay, if you want to see that whether it's a false positive, the moment you click on that red bubble, okay, you can see the report as well. Let's say that, any parameter is wrong. It is very simple. If I don't detect on a pattern basis, that is not intelligence actually. Because once the attack happens, you will get an alert anyway. There is an alert saying that, there is an attack on that. But we give you an advanced report based on the pattern. For example, there is a P2P traffic which is heavy from a user laptop to outside. So what happens is, yes, there is something happening there. There is a advanced threat which is sitting there, which cannot be detected by your antivirus. It is trying to connect to multiple sites. It will actually take that pattern and it will put it. So it is based on the pattern. Anything?
Hello. Okay. So where are the logs stored? Basically, do we need to integrate with the SIEM?
Actually, for the network security on the gateway, you have actually on appliance storage is there, where actually the logs, also the reports get stored there. And if you have any device, even you can actually plug in, it will take and it will give you centralized reports. So you have both. Here you have you don't have to buy any additional device. You have on appliance, you get all the logs, reports, everything for maximum of 60 days. And if you want to have more, okay, 365 days, we have solution, virtualized solution, where you can download the software, okay, you can put it on the virtual machine and it will just give you the reports actually, longer reports. And 100 GB? Yeah, 100 GB you can utilize, there is no charge at all.
Any more questions?
So we are available actually, so thank you very much.
One more thing last, we hosted free antivirus
Ah.
for home users. The website name is home.sophos.com. We just register the account. I will repeat again, home.sophos.com. This is for home use, not for your official use, right? So 10 devices, Mac and Windows. It's like very easy. Any CIO or any system manager or normal user can able to configure. Just drag and drop part. you can implement that if you want.
And I want to ensure that, it will not give you a pop-up to buy also, okay? Because a lot of the antivirus which you buy, which you use, it will give you like, upgrade this, upgrade this. So I can tell you, that's been the mission statement of our CEO, that we will not ask the customer to, pop up with some kind of jumpers, to say that you upgrade, buy some additional features, encryption. No. So you will not have any disturbance. It's just like you bought the license. So it will support 10. You can have the cloud. I'm using that. It's very, very good actually. Even you can have it on a Mac also. So you try this. And as we were discussing, this is one method which we are trying to familiarize Sophos, okay, into India market actually. So you try it, and even you can give a feedback, okay. So the interesting part is that's only, okay, because we want the feedbacks. Absolutely, absolutely. I can tell you it's 1 year free. After that, there is
It's a beta.
Yeah, it's beta.
Like, till now you are using Gmail. Last 5 years it is a beta, right? And it is continuing. The same way we are also into that beta, and never ends, I hope, because as per the development consent, new things we will add it on there only.
And one more interesting fact is the footprint is very, very light, and the updates are very, very light. So that's one of the key features of Sophos. So the moment you connect, even if it is 2G connection is there, it will update. And the 3 steps, just log in, user ID and this one, we will not disturb you also, okay? Second is download, third it will update. You can configure everything on the cloud. No, sorry.
The package what we install on home, what you are saying, how the signature gets updated, is it a registered user?
Okay, let's say you want to use it, just register that, okay, with your Gmail or whatever, download it. The moment you connect anytime, okay, each time you go to internet, it will just fetch it, okay. If it is offline, still it will do its job with the signatures what it has got actually. So the moment you connect anytime, when net is available, it will update.
These packages are also available for Android and iOS devices?
Android by default it is free.
Yes, Android is...
In the store it is available, Android. Apple we will not give free, right? So Android by default free, and encryption also added on the Android.
Yeah.
And when we talk about MDM, that centralized, that is for corporates, that it is chargeable. And another one more thing I want to add, now in our home we have kids. Like we will not go a lot of sites, but kids are like in my home also, kids are going. If you want to monitor, like whenever you are not there in the office, you can allow everything and you can monitor from anywhere. That is the cloud base. So it is very helpful.
So thank you very much. Yeah.